Welcome back on this Tuesday. As we continue to look at the book of Exodus, we're going to jump into chapter 17 right away, where we hear of even more grumbling. Are you surprised? I'm not. All the congregation of the people of Israel moved on from the wilderness of Sin by stages, according to the commandment of the Lord, and camped at Rephidim. But there was no water for the people to drink. Therefore the people quarreled with Moses and said, "Give us water to drink." And Moses said to them, "Why do you quarrel with me? Why do you test the Lord?" But the people thirsted there for water, and the people grumbled against Moses and said, "Why did you bring us up out of Egypt? To kill us and our children and our livestock with thirst?" So Moses cried to the Lord, "What shall I do with this people? They are almost ready to stone me." And the Lord said to Moses, "Pass on before the people, taking with you some of the elders of Israel, and take in your hand the staff with which you struck the Nile, and go. Behold, I will stand before you there on the rock at Horeb, and you shall strike the rock, and the water shall come out of it, and the people will drink." And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. And he called the name of the place Massah and Meribah, because of the quarreling of the people of Israel, and because they tested the Lord by saying, "Is the Lord among us or not?" I think they should have known if the Lord was among them or not. Didn't he go before them with a pillar of cloud by day and fire by night? Didn't he lead them through the Red Sea and destroy Pharaoh's army? Didn't he make the bitter water sweet? Isn't he feeding them with the very bread from heaven? And now they're complaining again, grumbling a fourth time. "You brought us out here in the desert to die of thirst." Fourth time they're grumbling. But yet God is patient. He is slow to anger. He is abounding in steadfast love, as we see in the prophets over and over. And in this time, we'll see a little bit more what God did. Right? He provided the water for them. Simply by striking a rock, water came out of the rock. Again, to show God's power over everyone, to show God's power, I should say, over nature, to provide things really out of nothing where they should not come. Verse 8, let's continue. Then Amalek came and fought with Israel at Rephidim. So Moses said to Joshua, "Choose for us men and go out and fight Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the staff of God in my hand." So Joshua did as Moses told him and fought with Amalek. While Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. Whenever Moses held up his hands, Israel prevailed. But whenever he lowered his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moses' hands grew weary, so they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it, while Aaron and Hur held up his hands, one on one side, the other on the other side. So his hands were steady until the going down of the sun, and Joshua overwhelmed Amalek and his people with the sword. So who is this Amalek? Amalek was a grandson of Edom, of Esau, so he was an Edomite. Really, it was a nomadic tribe that wandered around, part of the people of Esau. They were called Amalek because they were his descendants. And as they came down, again, as we look at the map, we see where Rephidim is, and how God, that's where the battle was. We see they have come down from the Red Sea, the wilderness of Sin. They're moving to Sinai, not quite there yet, and this is where they have the battle. As we see this, the important part that we see is the importance of holding up each other, of encouraging each other with our words, with our actions. Notice how Aaron and Hur encouraged, helped Moses lift up his hands so that he could be encouraging the army of Israel, Joshua, the leader, as they went to fight the battle. Now you'll notice that this is the first time that we hear mention of Joshua. He will take a more prominent role coming up in the chapters to come. in the end, he'll be the one that leads them into the promised land. We'll get to that much later. That's all we have for chapter 17. Remember, read through the whole chapter if I don't, maybe once or twice to get a better understanding of it. If you ever have any questions, send me an email, cburma@peacecolumbus.org, or you can ask the questions on YouTube, and we will try to get to them as well. God bless your day.